Okay, so for today's showcase, we got a ton of new stuff, particularly online. Today's not going to be a super asset heavy video. There might be some stuff that I'm forgetting about that has been added that I didn't think to mention, but for the most part, I can't really think of anything. There's nothing huge. We do have some new stuff to show off eventually, probably next showcase on Monday. Not today, though, unfortunately. The reason for that is because we have a load of other stuff to show off. There's no way there's going to be enough time, and already I'm trying to think about how I'm going to fit all this in. So, if you're wondering, there are a couple things that are different about this. So up here in the top right, you're going to see that we don't have the usual error messages, and that's because this is actually the online server, and that's not super special. Obviously, I've recorded showcases before, if you guys remember, on the online server. Nothing too special there. The important thing here is that we've started doing some actual playtesting. So this isn't the beta yet. If you guys are worried about that, don't. It's not a big deal. It's not open to every patron. Right now, I'm just doing it with my quote-unquote admin friends, moderators, and then the developer patrons. So just the people that I want to get familiar with the tools and everything, because obviously even in the beta we'll be needing those. So basically anyone who's going to have access to tools, anyone whose opinion I'm really fixating on, or anyone who gives really good feedback in general, I've kind of shoved into a playtest along with people, administrators, like I said, because they need to get familiar with their tools, and of course the dev patrons, but they already had access. So I guess technically so did the moderators, just because they had access to that channel, but regardless, that's the idea. So you're not missing out on anything. It's really nothing special. This is just kind of bug testing right now anyway, and making sure everything works. So that's that. That's why I'm here, and that's why up here it says what it does, and it doesn't have the usual error messages. I am looking forward to showing this off because first you'll see, as you can see, I, despite not having leveled up before, am level 41. So, a long time ago, when we initially did those playtests with dev patrons, it was a little bit of a dry period between then and now. So I did this 2 days ago or so, and I'm not trying to be dry here, but this is really important for you guys to know, so I'd like you guys to pay attention. Not trying to be demanding or anything, but so up until recently, the server has been up occasionally, but it's not been totally fixed, and I haven't been developing with the server in mind. Of course, I've been developing client-side, server-side with packets and everything, so it still works and functions that way. It's not like I've been designing for single player or anything crazy like that. It's just that I haven't been logging onto the server, updating the server, uploading it to the server, and then bug testing until now. So we had a huge wave of bugs, and I squashed that wave of bugs, I would like to say, pretty heartily. So there was a ton of different stuff. I'm going to go over most of them, most of the important ones. But just know that there were easily 40-some bugs that I, crushed in the effort of making this presentable and everything, and not buggy as hell. So, what else before I get into the bugs? I think that's everything, so I'm going to go ahead and open up this menu. As you can see, I wanted to demonstrate some of the functionality here. As you can see, despite being on the server, all of this works, all of this is functional. As you can see here, we have the proper thing. And previously, I didn't notice this. I'm not sure if this was true on the offline version or not, but this had percent signs next to them, which isn't, obviously, these aren't percentages. 10 out of 10% signs doesn't really make a lot of sense. These are just flat numbers. So these are also flat numbers, whereas these are obviously percentages. So that was just a small bug. I didn't really realize that for some reason. It just kind of slipped my mind. Obviously, you can go here. These are all functional as well. If I go here and click on this, it'll tell me you don't have ingredients of that type. And I guess I should show this off because this is something that is rather unique to the server. I just changed this a day ago or so. So if I go in here and I click on this gem, you can see it opens to the left now. So there was also a bug previously where it would open down here and it would overlap. So this overlay here, this transparent overlay, would appear above the solid overlay of this gem here. And that was a bug, obviously, that I fixed. But then even after fixing that, Prego brought it up, and it just looks a lot like it's clipping through unintentionally, so it looks like it's kind of bugging out, and I figured, well, obviously you don't want that to be a consistent bug report, even though it's a quote-unquote feature, so instead I have it open to the left here, and I think that looks a lot better. If I can get another gem, or another ore, I suppose, works as well. And obviously, you still get geodes from ore. The chance to get a geode from an ore node is actually really high right now, so that's just something to keep in mind. But if I go ahead and hit ore, you can see it extends to the left, both two of them. And there's some concern that if you have a million ore, it'll extend past the screen, but I don't even think we have enough ore in the game right now to make that a issue. So not my super concentration, it's not a big concern for me right now, is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, so one of the big bugs was, first of all, before anyone points it out, yes, right now there are no prereqs. That's not a bug though. That's wholly intentional. So if I can go here, and I will say that I haven't squashed all the bugs. There's still probably 10 or so bugs that I haven't fixed yet, and they range from big to small. Mostly though, all of the game crippling ones are done. It was a pretty big issue, or we had a couple of pretty big issues that are now gone, and I think that we maybe have one or two somewhat crucial bugs that need to be fixed, but those aren't even going to impact players that much. It's more like a kind of making my life easier in the future kind of thing, instead of something that's actually visually very appalling. So one of the easy bugs was this, so you can see that kind of delayed, but anyway, that's an unrelated thing. Previously, light, its type was missing a hash sign, so the color wasn't registering as a color, and it was just registering as undefined instead. So it wasn't actually giving it a color, it was just black. So now that's fixed. So now it actually has a color, as you can see, and it works properly. So very basic, but worth mentioning. There's also water prison. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to purchase this. Okay, I am. Okay, cool. Oh yeah, also there was a bug where you weren't able to drag from the spell menu to your bar, and obviously now you can. There is one of the two critical bugs that I do need to fix right now is that if I can slide, like see this fireball over here, and if I slide it off my screen, you can still click on it, which is whatever, but the fact that you can't click under it is more annoying than the fact that you can't click on it. So that's one thing that I need to fix, because currently I'm kind of using my own system to judge where things should be clipped out of this mask here. So I need to make that so that it, depending on the distance from the center of the circle object, you can't be clicked. So that's something I'll have to work out on my own. As I might have said in the Discord, I talked to Vika about it, but unfortunately it's not something he can fix. As I said, it's something that I kind of built into the system and everything. So another thing I fixed was previously you would buy this spell and then it wouldn't light up here, for instance. So if I buy this spell, oh, I see. Oops. Okay. So if I buy this spell, it lights up now, and if I close and reopen this window, it lights up as well. Currently, I believe it does not save, or sorry, it does save, but it doesn't refresh on login. So it still saves your spells when you log out. But for instance, last time I bought Bubble Bobble, and it didn't light up here, and the reason is because it's not aware that I've bought Bubble Bobble, if that makes sense. So that's just something that needs to be fixed. It's because I made the save system prior to making this spell tree window. Anyway, so before, if you close the window, it would erase these purple lines and replace them with brown lines, so that's been fixed. I already showed you guys light, but if I go ahead and show you guys, it's actually going to be kind of hard to show you guys Bubble Prison, but anyway, it still doesn't show up right now, and the reason for that is plainly that I kind of want to get it redone. That was actually, I think, the first spell that we had professionally done, and it was okay. I really like that artist. He was one of the first artists to be really nice to me and everything. But I don't think that his style fits super well, and I definitely think we could do better. So I have been kind of slacking on replacing it, just because I feel like, or slacking on putting it in, I should say, because I feel like I can just kind of get Howl to do one instead. Anyway, previously there was a bug where there were a couple bugs actually where DR would give, I was setting it as -50 or something in the code, and what happens there is I recently changed it so that I use percentages for DR instead. That way I can more easily demonstrate, say, 150% DR or something like that. I feel like that's more important notation-wise, and then saying like 150, it doesn't make as much sense, So it used decimals and then Bubble Prison hadn't been updated for that yet, so it was using 50 still, so it was giving you, I think, 5,000 um, 5,000 DR, which would result in these huge negative numbers and negative heals as well. So obviously that's not intended, but in case you were wondering, if you get high enough DR, you can in fact heal from it. Will I let you get high enough DR for that? Absolutely not. I'd be a failure of a balance man if I did. But just to let you know, that functionality is there. It works like that if you were so curious. So that's Bubble Prison. What else? Okay, so there was another really big error, or I guess bug here. So I've been having this issue. I don't think it's Velocity's issue. I think it's something with my computer, where a lot of the files, or not a lot of the files, but occasionally one of the code files that I've been editing will revert some of the changes. And I know that sounds like a conspiracy theory, but it's true. I've watched it happen. I reported it to Veek, but Veek said that it's probably an error on my own end, which I'm fine with. That doesn't sound completely incorrect, to be honest. So it's something I need to research a little bit more. But what was happening was I had updated this stat window system to be what you call server authoritative. And that's a very fancy word to say that I don't do anything important on the client side. And the reason for that is because to you guys, the client code is actually just free. It is incredibly easy to grab basically anything from the client side. And I'm telling you guys that because of how easy it is. I'm not gonna say to you guys, oh, it's impossible, you can't do it, it's too hard. It's not a challenge. It really is just that easy. It's basically free code. The reason that you want all of the important code on the server side is because if I gave some important code on the client side instead, like say I just had a function there that told the server to give me one Ventus or something, 1 point in Ventus, then someone could easily log into the client and just say that over and over and over again. So there's a couple issues with that, but another issue was that you could actually send packets so fast that, or send clicks so fast that the server would actually go above the cap. So now you can't send another click until the server is done with that function, which sounds kind of annoying, right? You know, you in your head think, oh god, I have to wait to click again. That's not the case. What was happening was I, along with Splendor, we did some tests, and he was using an auto clicker, which was hitting, I think, around probably 50 milliseconds per click, I would say, which is insanely inhumanly fast, of course. Even hitting 100 milliseconds a click is pretty hard for a human. So it's basically just to prevent people from getting an auto clicker and getting above 10. So that's that. It really doesn't take more than a couple milliseconds to get through that function, but it was worth it for preventing people from using auto clickers to get above 10, which is obviously the idea. So additionally, in an effort to combat that, I've also added a cheat engine, or I shouldn't say cheat engine, that's the wrong word. I've added cheat prevention. So in the midst of that, I realized that if someone did find a way to get above 10, you know, even though I'm confident in the fact that it's probably not possible, if someone did find a way to get above 10, I'd want everybody to know about it, because even for ECs and things like that, you won't need higher than 10 base in any of these stats here. All of these stats are just base stats, and you'll just add to the bonus values, because those can be added to or changed at any time. They don't save, they don't clutter anything, so it's just easily much better. There might be a case in the future where you have to change them, but we'll approach that, you know, as we need to. My point being, there's no reason that anyone should ever have above 10 in one of these base stats. So for the moment, what I've done is I just have it so that as soon as that happens, as soon as someone gets above 10, which is, as I said, impossible, or shouldn't be possible, I should say, then it'll alert all of the admins in the game, and it'll log it and log their user info, including their name, their username, as well as a couple other factors like how they got it to there and some other useful information for me like that. And it also says to report it to me. So it spams the admins as well. So that's my idea with that. It's just very basic cheat prevention, but it's probably going to be consistent throughout. And then in the future, I'd like, you know, we have this ticket system. So if I go into the tickets here, and just click here. You see it pops up here, and then you click here, and it gives you info around it, or about it, I should say. So in the future, rather than just having it spam admins with this message, it'll probably just have a little pop-up in the admin menu, and then force their focus onto the admin menu, and it'll say something similar like someone has been detected cheating, click here to review information about it, that kind of thing. So that's just something I wanted to mention. Another thing I can't show off yet, but I wanted to tell you guys about was the implementation of admin tools. A long time ago, I actually completed quite a few of them. So like ban IP, mute, IC mute, OOC mute, dual mute. We have a teleport to function, a summon function. We have a third person teleport function, which, if that doesn't make sense to you, basically you choose two people, and then the first person is teleported to the second person. That way you don't have to teleport to one person and then summon the other. So it's sort of like an extension of that. We have a couple others like editing functions. I'm actually going to have a variable specific function specifically for administrators. I'm not going to allow moderators to have that, I don't think, just because it is very, very easy to break the entire game by editing variables directly. That is a very dangerous game, so I got to be careful with that. But it's actually just a couple of boxes up here, and it's going to be categories. So, for instance, connection is going to be the box for booting people, for banning their IPs, for kicking people, that kind of thing in general. Then there's going to be communication for mutes and etc. And that's my idea for admin tools. It's going to have editing variables, and they're all going to be drop down. So I think it'll be very pretty. In the future, I'd also like to add that right-click functionality I mentioned in a showcase so long ago. But that's less of a priority, just because I think that I personally like that a lot more than anybody else does. So I don't want to prioritize that too much. And actually, before we go, there is a bug I wanted to mention as well with herb nodes, just because I like being transparent with you guys. Herb nodes currently you can't pick up, so herb nodes don't actually show up in your inventory, I don't think. They are, yeah, okay. So they aren't invisible, they just don't show up in your inventory. Not particularly sure why that is. Herb nodes were actually one of the files affected by the reverse that I mentioned, where it was reversing my code changes for some reason. So that might be happening again with that. I'll have to check. It might actually help me fix that issue. But anyway, I wanted to show you guys before I get too offhand here. I'm not too upset about going over 15 minutes. I did say in the Patreon poll that it would be, oh, and this is the intro by the way, in case you were curious. I'm a very big fan of watching this. You guys are free to watch. But, so, the, I forgot what I was saying. Okay, sorry, I got distracted by the title menu and forgot what I was saying. Anyway, I wanted to show you guys just the login sequence here. So you can click here and it logs you in. As you can see, it TPs me back here. That's because it's the last save location. Currently you use /save to save manually. That is very risky, of course, but right now no one's really doing anything important. Like, spells are free, stats are free, nothing's really of value right now, so I'm not really worried about saves having a problem like that, or not saving when you add to a stat. But in the future, when you add to a stat, when you purchase spells, that kind of thing, it'll save your player automatically. So that's that, and then I'm going to go ahead and, okay, ignore those errors. Right now, if you ungracefully exit the game, it freaks out because it needs to, it should disconnect you cleanly, but if you like refresh the page uncleanly or whatever, it'll cause those errors to pop up. It doesn't cause any errors in the server itself, like it's not that big of a deal. Whatever, I'm just going to type server. So you can just use the default password. In the future, it's going to have a pop-up saying, this is a new account, would you like to create a new account? But for right now, that's just a step I don't really need. So we're going to go ahead and click through here. So you guys have already seen this stuff. It's all creation menu stuff, but I wanted to show it off anyway. So you go here, pick these, and then these had an error as well where you could click this open and then it would stay open if you forgot to close it. So I'm going to choose, let's choose teal. Hair color is still too dark. I gotta fix that as well, but just for the purpose of showing it off. As you can see, the hair is in game and everything. There was an error as well where hair was disconnected from your body. There were a lot of bugs. A lot of bugs. I stayed up for probably, I think, 16 hours or so fixing nothing but bugs, which is why today's showcase is so bug focused and not asset focused instead. There was just so much to show off in that regard to talk about. So hair works there. If you were wondering about hair in general, if anyone said anything about hair, the reason is because hair actually doesn't show. Is this undefined? Oh, it's because okay. I see. I'm level 0 right now, so I don't have any mana. And I have health because players currently have 1,000 bonus to their health at level 0, just so you have a little bit to work with when you're low level. But anyway, hair is currently client side, and it's only for the client that has the hair. So you can see your own hair, but you can't see other people's hair. That's it. Um, it's not a big deal. I just have to make it so that you update other people's hairs on your client as well. Also, there's something worth mentioning before I go. The saves don't currently work for hairstyles or other modern variables, quote unquote modern variables. As I said, I made the save function a while ago, so it's not that complicated to add variables to save. It's just that I need to make sure that they work properly when you load back in. So it's just going to save your hairstyle, hair color, eye color, etc., all of your cosmetic values to the save file. It's very basic. It's just a JSON data file, and that'll load from it when you load back in. So nothing too complicated, but I felt like it was worth mentioning just because if you're wondering if that works yet, it doesn't, but it'll work pretty soon. That's just one of the bugs that I have to fix, or I guess technically a feature that I have to implement. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. I apologize again for it being so bug-centric today, but like I said, I did spend a huge portion of time fixing these bugs. I worked with a bunch of people, playtesting and everything, making sure that it worked, and I'm going to actually quickly show over here. So you can see the CPU here. This is a $5 server, I believe, and it's sitting comfortably at 5%. Even as I log on here, you can see it jumps to about 7% or so, but it really does not have any spikes. There was an error with the golem. I think the golem was causing problems just logging so many of its AI functions, so I just removed the logs. It doesn't need to log it anymore. I'm not testing AI right now. So, you know, pretty cool. It's working out. This is a great playtest so far, great stress test. So far, I have no reason to believe that we'll have any trouble hosting probably 50 players on a $40 server. I think that will go pretty smoothly, actually. I can't prove that, and it might go disastrously, but with 10 people on, it caps out at probably 15% on a $5 server. That's pretty good. That's actually really inviting. I'm very happy about that. So let me know what you guys think. I'm sorry about the delay on the beta and everything, but I do want to make sure that we are prepared. It has been brought to my attention a couple times now that we're probably going to have 100 to 200 players on launch, and I wanted to start playtesting now just with a couple people to make sure that we weren't going to get totally swamped just by the beta itself. And I think that we're pretty prepared for that. So once we get the outfits and everything ready, I think we'll be ready to do the beta. This stress test has obviously given me a lot of bugs to fix, but that's a good thing. So anyway, sorry to bore you guys with that. I know you guys like the assets and everything, but it was just what I've been doing, and I felt like I should show off what I've been doing. Next showcase should be a lot more interesting. So as we get past the bugs and everything. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys look forward to the next one. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. Bye.